Welcome to Tend. In this quick start tutorial, we'll be covering how to map out your fields, add plantings to your crop plan, create tasks and task templates, and log expenses. Let's get started. To create a field in Tend, first make sure that you're in the Locations feature. Then click on the Add Field button. Here we have the option between either an input field, which is better for fields that are rectangular, or a drawn field, which is better for fields that have an irregular shape. In our first example, we'll create an input field. First, we can give the field a name. Let's call it Field 1. Then we can enter the number of beds that the field will have. We can enter the bed length, select our tillage method, and set the bed width. When we click Create Field, you can see that the field outline is placed on the satellite image. We can reposition the field, adjust the angle using the slider, and once we're happy with the position of the field, click Save. Next, let's create a drawn field. Select the Drawn Field option, and then click to add points along the perimeter of your field, eventually reconnecting with the first point. Confirm the shape of your field, then select the side of your field that's parallel to your beds. Give your field a name, select your tillage method, enter your bed width, and create beds. Then hit Save. First, make sure you're in the Crop Plan section of Tend, then click on the blue Add Plantings button. You can search for the type of crop you'd like to plant. In this example, let's plant lettuce. You can select lettuce from the list, click the Create button, and then you can search for the variety of lettuce that we'd like to plant. In this example, let's search for Coastal Star. Tend includes a crop database with general growing data such as in-row spacing and days to maturity. The first time you add a variety of lettuce, you'll notice that Tend has automatically pre-populated certain values. This helps you get started quickly and minimizes data entry. As you make updates and enter details specific to your farm, Tend will remember these details for the next time you create a planting of that same crop. Let's take a look at the details for this planting of lettuce. We can enter a planting amount, in this example 300 bed feet. We can set our in-row spacing, let's change that to 12 inches, and enter the number of rows per bed. In this example, we'll be planting 2 rows per bed. Next, let's take a look at our planting method and dates. We can see under planting method, we can choose between direct sow band swath, greenhouse sow, or transplant from purchased. In this example, we'll select direct sow. You can set the harvest stage. In this example, we'll harvest the lettuce at full size, and you can select the planting date from the calendar. Notice that the days to maturity is based on the difference between our planting date and our first harvest date. If we update the days to maturity to 65, you'll notice that the first harvest date will be updated as well. Next, let's take a look at our seed details. We can see that based on our planting amount, we should need 600 seeds. We can add in an additional 10% to make sure that we don't run out. We can indicate that the seed is organic for record keeping, and we can enter in the number of seeds per ounce for our seed order. Next, let's look at our harvest and revenue rates. We can indicate that we'll be recording our harvest of lettuce in pounds, and we can estimate that we'll get approximately a half pound of lettuce per row foot, and then we can enter in our sales price for lettuce. You can see that based on our estimated yield of 300 pounds, it gives us an estimated revenue of $900 for this planting. Next, let's assign this planting to a field on our farm. Click the Select Location button. Pick the field you'd like to assign it to. We can see that our beds are displayed along the left-hand side, and by hovering our mouse over the beds, we can select which bed this planting will be assigned to. You can see that each bed is 150 feet long, giving us a total of 300 bed feet. Then click Save. Now, we're ready to create our planting. Scroll to the bottom of the window and hit Create. You'll need to click the Reload button to see the planting you've just created. Now you can see the coastal star planting appearing on the time graph. Let's say we want to create a second planting of the same variety of lettuce. Simply select our coastal star planting and click on the duplicate button and select duplicate to this year. Now we can see a second planting is appearing on the time graph. If we want to easily adjust the date for our second planting of coastal star, we can use the Live Edit feature. This will allow us to move the coastal star planting forwards and backwards along the time graph. We can also adjust the harvest window by clicking and dragging the end of the bar, or adjust the days to maturity. When we're happy with our changes, we can click Save. You can see that our first planting of lettuce is currently assigned to Field 1, Beds 1 and 2, and our second planting of lettuce is currently unassigned. We can assign this to a field by opening the planting details and going to the Select Location feature, or we can go over to the Locations feature in Tend and assign it from there. Let's select Field 1 from our farm. When we click on Field 1, we can see that our first lettuce planting is displayed, assigned to Beds 1 and 2. Then, if we click on the Assign Planting button, we can see our second planting of lettuce, which is currently unassigned. Click on Add to Field, and then you can drop in this planting to Beds 3 and 4. Then click Save. Now, let's go back to the Crop Plan feature and take a look at our plantings. Currently, we're in the All Plantings view of our crop plan, which will show us our crops listed by variety. We can also view our crop plan in the Plantings by Location view, which will show our crops by field, grouped either by beds or crops. We can see that in Field 1, in Beds 1 and 2, is our first planting of lettuce, and in Beds 3 and 4, our second planting of lettuce. The Task Template feature allows you to easily create groups or templates of standard tasks that can be applied to similar crops, instead of having to create each task individually. To create a new template, click on New Template, give the template a name. In this example, let's create a template for lettuce. Let's say we want to add a task to rototill our lettuce plantings 2 days before we plant. Select our task type, our method, and our implement. Then we can link this task with our field planting date for 2 days before our field planting date. Next, let's add a task to lay out drip tape for our planting. You can select Irrigate, Lay Drip, and let's say we want to link this 1 day before our field planting date. Now, let's take a look at how to apply this task template to one of our lettuce plantings. Let's click on the crop plan, and let's change our view to All Plantings. Select our first coastal star planting, and we can apply the template by clicking on Apply Template and selecting lettuce from the list. However, since we have 2 lettuce plantings, let's actually apply this template to both at the same time using the Bulk Edit feature. Select both coastal star plantings from the list and click on Edit. This feature allows you to adjust details for multiple plantings at the same time, including planting amount, spacing, dates, etc. Let's click on the Apply Task Template option, select our lettuce template from the list, and click Update. These tasks have now been added to both lettuce plantings. Let's take a look at the tasks in the task calendar. Click on Task Calendar, and now we can see for our first planting, we have our field plant task, our drip tape task, and our rototill task. Because these tasks are linked, if we move our field planting day forward, both the cultivation task and the irrigation task will be moved as well. You can mark tasks complete from the calendar just by checking the box, or you can open a specific task to edit the details. You can assign tasks to different members of your team, or you can enter a labor time for the task. Let's say this task took us 1 hour. Completing a task with a labor time entered will automatically create an expense for that labor based on the user's labor rate. Let's go ahead and mark this task as complete. In the expense feature in 10, you can see that a labor expense has already been created based on the task that we completed for 1 hour. To add another expense, click on the blue Add Expense button. Let's say we want to log an expense for our drip tape. Let's select irrigation for the category, select the crop that it will apply to, select the input, and you can see that we can enter in the total cost for this expense, and we can attach a file. Let's say we attach the drip tape receipt file. Then click Create.